everyone, welcome back to the 3-hour news show on C. Today we have officially entered our signature segment, which is See the Stories. Now, I would like to ask you both, have you ever traveled solo or perhaps seen a woman traveling alone?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
both.
Yes and yes.
yes. So I did travel solo quite some times in the first half of my 20s. So in that case as well, I bumped into so many women from other parts of the world because I opted to stay in hostels. So that get
The best
me
ones.
to, the best ones. So that get me to actually have chats with lots of people, and that includes women who were traveling solo. And as a matter of fact, I have several friends, women friends, who are actually traveling solo.
Yeah, very
Nice.
cool.
What
And
about you?
I started traveling solo when I was, fairly young. When I was 13, I think it was the first one. The first one was actually going to Bandung.
Your mom and dad allowed you to go alone? 13 years old?
13 years old, going to Bandung for a tennis
Whoa.
tournament.
Oh, tennis tournament.
Okay. So not a random trip.
Not a random trip, of course not. I was my coach, my friends were already waiting there. So again, this is something that I think I was really benefited as a young age to be able to do that and to be allowed to do that actually.
That's actually
And women, of course, girls at the time around the same age, and also the younger female count.
I personally think that back then, traveling solo is way more challenging than right now. Because now we have our smartphone, we can
true.
look for anything. But back then, well, we were young. I mean, we're still young, but when we were younger,
There you go.
we only have our BlackBerry with limited internet
Oh,
connection.
that's true.
Oh, challenging.
It's so challenging. So I went alone to Venice, Italy, alone with no one. And
No
I got
one.
the last flight. I arrived like in the middle of the night and got no money. So I sleep over
Pretty
at
much
the
could
airport.
relate to that. Yes.
At the airport, and then because we were not busy with our phones, we talked with other travelers, right? And I met another solo traveler, also a woman, and then more. I meet more along the way, and then we shared information, and then we even booked a cheap hotel and stay together in one room
Oh, stay together in one room.
with strangers.
So what about the safety when it comes to traveling solo as a woman?
Well, actually, I'm not the expert because I've only done like 1 or 2 solo travels throughout my life, but fortunately today we will talk with the expert, okay? If you are a woman and plan to travel alone in a foreign country, we can ask our guest speaker today. We are now connected with Dana Wang. She's an Australian content creator who often shares her contents on how to travel safely as a woman. Hi, Dana.
Hi everyone.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
Dana.
So obviously we saw your contents on Instagram, especially when you were traveling solo in an unfamiliar destinations. Now, my first question would be, how long have you been traveling solo?
I think like for 7 years, like since 2017 actually. Yeah, I was a student at the time, and at the I'm actually a lawyer, so I was in law school at that time, and I was basically just didn't really have anyone to travel with, so I just decided to go by myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
How old were you back then?
7 years ago. You don't have to mention that.
Oh, sorry for the question.
Just to keep our insecurities at bay.
We're sitting here. We know how old we are. We're just a little older than we used to. Now, Dana, we were talking earlier before we connected to you. We had experiences also traveling solo, and then we just wondering now because you are, you are our guest here, and we consider you as one of the experts of doing this. Do you have any list maybe or requirements of doing this for the very first time, especially for a woman?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is like doing your research, but also like trying to like not go to like really difficult countries, because I think some countries are a bit more difficult for solo travel. So maybe like if it's your first time, try like going somewhere within your own city by yourself, or or maybe like, and if you want to like go a bit further, like somewhere you haven't been to before, maybe you can go to like another city, like maybe like for Indonesia, like you can, instead of like Jakarta, you can go to like Lombok Island by yourself and just like see how comfortable you are with being by yourself and traveling by yourself. And then after that, I think you can like start considering like overseas options. But there are a lot of like really safe like overseas countries for solo travel.
Okay, so but that being said, which indicator would you look for in any sources about the safety and also the security of women traveling alone?
Like how would I determine if a country is safe, right?
Yes, correct.
I think mainly just researching, like just there's a lot of information online. I think we're really lucky we live like in the digital age because you have like information like online, like on social media, and you can also like read blogs. So there's just a lot of information, and you can just like there's a lot of like other female travelers who also post their experience, and you can just kind of like see their experience, like read about their experience and hear about their experience.
Okay, so in that case as well, aside from, of course, your clothes and also the basic necessities, did you bring any, I don't know, self-defense equipments,
That's a good
let's say? Because,
No.
yes, once again, you're a woman traveling solo, far away from your home country.
Yeah. So I personally haven't, because like based on my research, like the places that I was going to, it didn't really warrant like self-protection equipment. So I think for me, I mainly like try to be aware of my surroundings, like wherever I go. Some countries are like so safe, you don't even need to worry about that. But like for maybe like a bit more challenging countries, I just like use my common sense, be aware of my surroundings, and I think that's really the key. Yeah. So I don't really bring like self-protection equipment though, but if I don't feel comfortable in a situation, I would just like, leave the situation, like go to like a more busier place where like, depending if it's like someone's following me or something, so I'll just go to like a different place, just to get rid of the situation. Yeah.
I've been seeing these videos where the solo traveler or a flight attendant, they are staying in this room alone, and they're equipped with, several not gadgets, but maybe equipment where they can determine whether there's a hidden camera or not in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, is there such thing?
Yeah, there is. And something to lock the door, like for double protection. I know that hotels have locks, obviously, but do you carry those things with you when you're traveling alone?
No.
No?
No, I don't. I think it's because like the places that I've been to, like I've like feel comfortable. Like like when you feel uncomfortable, you can kind of feel it. But I feel like pretty like comfortable like at the for the places I visited. So I never really did any of that. So, but I think it's fine. Like if that gives you the peace of mind, then that's fine. But I think for me, I already had peace of mind, so I didn't like do that.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying, did that ever happen to you then when you were actually feeling a little bit maybe unsafe when you're actually visiting a country, and then you think that, I gotta remove myself from the situation? Did that ever happen to you? Just wondering.
Not really.
Oh,
I
good
think
for you.
like I think overall I feel pretty like comfortable, but maybe it's because I'm like quite used to it. So maybe like what someone thinks is like unsafe, like I'm like okay with it.
Okay.
So so I think like okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we see that. Hold on, I got one more. We see that you visited a couple of, or not a couple, but quite a good number of Muslim countries during your travel time. Is there any specific reason, or is nothing, just because it's you just like the idea of doing, or maybe just the country itself is very interesting to you?
Yeah, I think it all really started when I visited like Pakistan, and I think I really didn't expect that, because when I was growing up, since I'm from Australia, like all the news is saying that Muslim countries are like very very dangerous, or like the people are like not good. So yeah, after visiting like Pakistan, which is a Muslim country, it really opened my eyes that like Muslim people are like really like warm-hearted, and there's a lot to see. But unfortunately, like the Western media like has been negatively portraying them for such a long time. So I really wanted to like just visit them just to like see what it's like for myself, because I don't really think I feel like they don't really get as much like hype as like non-Muslim countries.
So you kept mentioning about challenging countries and how you should be prepared for that according to yourself if you want to travel. So what were the challenging countries in your opinion when it comes to that?
I would say like Morocco is one of them, because I think I read a lot of like when I was doing my research, there were a lot of like female travelers and also male travelers who had like a pretty like bad experience and said there was like a lot of harassment and all of that. So I was just kind of when I went there, I kind of like had that in my mind. So I didn't really experience like any like that much. I didn't really experience harassment, but I did experience like scams. There was just a lot of scams. Yeah, like it's a really nice country, but it was just like a lot of scams. So maybe like it's not like the ideal place for like a first time solo traveler, because you'll encounter a lot of that.
So what was actually the scam that happened to you?
There was several like mostly like people say like follow B, but then they like every time someone does every time someone does something nice for you, they expect like a tip. So like they would not do it out of their own warm heart. They would like expect money from you. So yeah, so I experienced like several instances, and people like not returning the correct change, and people like kids like wanting to like show you like a cool place, or like take you ask you to like tell you this street is closed, but it's actually not closed, and then demanding you money for that.
I've experienced that, honestly. So a really nice man, very friendly man, asked me to take a picture with a really unique bird. Come take a picture. And then, so I just took a picture with my phone, and then he asked for money, like huge.
Where was it?
Actually, here in the country, in Indonesia. So yeah, you are right. We got to be careful, because it can happen anywhere, not just in one particular country, right? Well, yeah.
Yeah. So. You want to go?
Do we still have time before a commercial break?
Do we have time?
Yeah, I think we have to go on a break.
We still have a lot of questions for you. Oh, no, we still have time. Okay, sorry.
I guess we got one more. Dana, before we go on a break, can you tell us how, you started making content about solo traveling. Again, what prompted you to do that, and how long ago since you first started posting it?
Yeah, so I've actually been like on Instagram like creating content since like 2015 when I was still a student, just like as a hobby. I started like off as a food blog, and then after that I wanted to change, so I changed into travel. And because like I mentioned, I didn't have anyone to travel with, so I just like posted like my travels, like traveling by myself, and I didn't really expect like people would find it inspiring, like my experience traveling by myself. So yeah, so it all happened like I started creating content like around 2015, but like when I started posting travel content, that was 2017.
Okay, so Dana, when it comes, if it's up to me, when it comes to traveling, it has always been about food.
Yeah.
So what are the most delicious dishes that you've ever tried during your travels, and from which country?
I would say like there's a lot of nice dishes. Like some countries they don't really have nice food, but like the countries with good food, like it's really hard to pick one. So maybe I'll just like list a few. So like from Greece, I really like the souvlaki. Like they have like the gyros, which are really nice.
Yes.
A lot of Greek dishes are really nice. In Italy, they have like of course like pasta, pizza, but like in Italy, it's like really authentic. It's not like how it is like overseas. It's really authentic and affordable. And in Jordan, I really like the makluba. It's like this chicken rice dish. It's really popular all over like Arab country. In Korea, I really like Korean food. But in Korea, it's like really like accessible. So like I was just eating Korean, like the tteokbokki and like the fish cake, like fish cake in the soup. That yeah. So. Yeah, everything was really enjoyable for me. Yeah, and in Malaysia, I really enjoyed like the mamak food and also like the Chinese Malaysian food. Like everything, like yeah, like those are like the really nice food countries.
I see.
Oh my
God. You said that it's hard to pick a favorite, right? Because there's a lot of country that has so many amazing food. But is there any country which food is your least favorite? Because you just told me after a holiday that you cannot tolerate the food in Praha.
Not really cannot tolerate. I can't really eat.
I know it's not because that the food isn't good. It's because of our cultural background.
Probably. It's not like it wasn't familiar for me, but as in my taste buds, I'm an Asian, let alone I'm an Indonesian. So I am used to, strong flavors.
Yes.
And, with like the party in your mouth kind of thing.
Party in your mouth.
What about you?
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm also the same. I had the same issue, and like I was living in Europe for 2 years, and I really struggled, like because I traveled a lot in Europe, but I also really like Asian food. But I found that like some European countries, they're like I literally have to go to like a Chinese restaurant or like find an Asian restaurant.
Me
Like,
too.
so it's just like I crave it.
Almost all the time. I went to kebab stand.
There you go, the easiest one.
Easiest one, true.
Can't go wrong.
Is it the cheapest one too?
Yes, the cheapest one too, or probably like Dana said, Gyro would be one of the options because lots of Greek restaurants as well around Central and East Europe, and oh my God, so many things.
So many.
But Dana, I just out of curiosity, how many countries have you visited so far, and which country has been underrated and is interesting to visit?
Yeah, so I just counted this like a few days ago. So I visited 28, but in the next 2 weeks I'll be adding 2 more to that. So it'll be like 30 in the next by the end of the month. And my favorite country, it's also really hard. It's kind of like food, like every country is like kind of like unique in their own way. So it's that's pretty hard for me to choose. Least favorite countries. Yeah, I also don't think I have a least favorite country. I think. There's always something I like a bit about each country, so it's pretty hard, to say.
All right. One more thing. Earlier you mentioned that research is the key, right, before visiting a foreign country, especially for a solo traveler, and that we are lucky that we are living in the digital age where information is very accessible. However, not everyone is a good researcher.
True.
Right? And with the, with that many information, many reels, many videos on every social media platform, we notice that sometimes we cannot trust the video because it looks so amazing, so magical in the video.
True.
But then when you visit the real thing, it's not as beautiful as we see it on the internet. So please give us some tips on how to do
research.
Really good research.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I normally just use Google. I just like type into Google, and I also find Reddit really helpful. So also even on TikTok, there's I find TikTok has a really good SEO. You can just search like country travel tips, and then it provides some like practical. If you just want to focus on the travel tips rather than inspiration, beautiful places, you have to add the phrase travel tips to the end of the city or the country you're going to, and then you'll have like a bunch of videos with just the travel tips.
Okay.
So SEOs is important.
Yes.
Yes.
Keywords.
Yeah, I think if you just search the destination name, it will just show like a bunch of videos of the destination, not necessarily travel tips. So you have to include the words travel tips.
True.
That's a good tip. That's a pro tip. Now, Dana, have you, because you said that you're going to be adding 2 more at the end of the month. Now, is Indonesia in that 30 countries that you have visited?
Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm
good.
going to be visiting Bali in the next week. Yeah, next Sunday.
Oh, you
and
are
then after
here.
that,
Okay.
Yeah, shortly after that, I might be I think I booked a trip to Brunei, just because I was curious about it, and it's not really visited.
Can you tell us then what your research has shown you to come to Indonesia? what you need to prepare before you come?
Yeah, so Indonesia, like because I've traveled like in Malaysia and Singapore, like you guys use Grab everywhere, like Grab bike. So I'll be like getting around with the Grab bike, and yeah, you guys have really nice like rice paddies. Like,
Right.
and also really nice nature. So, but I'll just be going to Bali, which and that has like so much like resources because like a lot of travelers go there. So yeah, so it's really easy for me to find like resources for that.
Lovely.
Oh, our people have been quite astonished by the rice paddies in
Right.
Bali as well, and even even probably from one traveler to another. One tip: if you go to Indonesia, you don't have to bring that much of cash because everything is actually accessible with cards. It's only if you need it
I
for
see,
tips.
yeah.
For tips, that'll be okay.
Okay.
But
Right,
for
right,
any other
yeah.
things, card is accepted
Okay,
anywhere.
cool. Yeah, that's really
Alright.
convenient.
Yeah.
All right, Dana, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. I'm certainly inspired to go on another solo
Yes.
trip.
Right. Yes.
No
Have
worries.
fun on the next journey and next trips. All right, Dana. Stay
Oh,
safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Stay
Bye.
safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that is even more reason for you to put more destinations, more countries to your travelers because, you know, travel is not only about you going to places, but also understanding a lot of things, not only your own culture, but other people's culture and how they think, how they perceive, you know, issues, and also that you can actually learn the background of on the things that have been circulating in media about them in other countries.
Couldn't agree more.
Yes.
Another
so
pro tip from Hans Lango.
true. Travel more. And for the next See the Stories, we'll continue after the break, and we will talk about Indonesia as a top Muslim destination. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us.